coming back to the swine industry, uh, I think that there is a lot of synergy with the slaughterhouse and the producers and the integrators, and with companies like us that is intending to manage all farms and to find different ways to produce pork and with more professionalism, with more long-term vision, with more management in the daily basis,
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Wisenetix Podcast episode. I'm your host for the day, Ricardo, Key Account Executive here at Wisenetix. And today, my guest is Pedro. Jean is an Executive Manager at Bretanha AMVC. Welcome, Jean.
Thank you, Ricardo, for the introduction. It's great to be here and share some experience, share some knowledge, and
Awesome. Jean, the way we like to start our conversations here is first to, try to understand a little bit more about our guests. So, can you share a little bit more about yourself, about your personal and professional life?
sure, Ricardo. So I'm Jean Pedro de Quadros. I'm a veterinarian. I'm originally from the south of Brazil. Actually, the name of the city is Pelotas. I've been working in the swine business for the last 9 years. Right now, I'm working on my MBA, Master Business Administration, especially for my current role. As you mentioned, I'm an executive manager for Bretanha AMVC, which is a brand new company. I have been living in three different countries, which has been a great experience for me. Just came back from US last year, and I'm here in Brazil, ready to start this company and this new business that we are developing in a partnership with a US company that will be sharing more with you guys.
I bet there are some people curious here to learn more about this partnership between Britannia and IMVC. So, and just before we jump into this, Gia, I also would like to understand a little bit more. What are your top three experiences, your top three achievements, and what you learned from those experiences? And please, you can share personal, professional, anything that is relevant for you.
Great, great. That's an amazing question, and I always like to reply to this one. So I will I will mention one personal and two professional achievements or experience in my life. So my favorite personal achievement was the opportunity that I had to live in Australia, which was a dream for me when I was, let's say, a young teenager. Not a teenager. I was 19 years old or almost 20, starting my graduation in veterinary, and I decided to leave Brazil and go very far to Australia. I spent half a year there, had experience to know people from a lot of different cultures, to have the opportunity to travel in that amazing country. So that was a great experience for me, and I love that.
Where did you live in Australia?
I lived in Sydney.
Amazing, amazing. I love there. I lived there in 2014. I have a piece of my heart still there. So I relate to that experience.
Man, same here, man. So we share the same sentiment about that amazing country. And my two professional achievements that I would say is another one is I had the opportunity to live in US and work as a swine person there. When I was in JBS, right when I finished my graduation, in my interview, one of the questions was, "What's one of your dreams for your future career?" And I replied, "I want to work as a swine, as a vet, abroad." So and I had the opportunity to fill up this dream when I was in US for the last 6 years. So that was a great achievement for me. And another one, when I was in US, I had the opportunity to develop a project within Seaboard Foods, which is the second largest integrator in US. We developed the PCAI there inside that company, which was a huge project. We involved a lot of different areas, different brilliant people, brilliant project, great one, big one. So it was a very, very great experience, very, very amazing experience for me. This project. And very very short, I will mention that one not a small achievement, but for a swine vet or for a health vet as well. I had the opportunity to do a small presentation for a group of people in a conference, and Dr. Billy Flowers was there, and after my presentation he praised me. So Dr. Billy Flowers is the god of health. So it was great just to see, hey, Jean, congratulations for your presentation with my broken English on that time. It was great to hear that from him.
That is awesome. That is awesome. And English, that's something I struggle all the time. We always like, hey, how can I say this? You know, never secure enough when we're speaking in another language, right? Like we're always like, hey, is this word right or wrong? So in conferences, I one time I was in this conference and I gave a talk, and I remember I was wearing a suit. When I took it off, like I was all sweaty, like all sweat, because I was like, okay, I need to speak in English and everything. But when you can do it and do it in a good way, where a person who is a reference to you praises you, that's the best gift. And yeah, the next question I have here is it's just a funny question that we make to transition to the part when we talk about business, about projects. And but I don't think that's going to be really hard for you, because your father is also in the industry, right? But we like to ask the guests, how would your parents describe what you do? So I don't think your father would have any issue on that.
No, he wouldn't. Yeah, my father, Pedro, he's also in the swine business for the last 25 years, a well-known person here in Brazil. So I wouldn't think that he would have any issue to describe my role. But my mother, for sure, she would have an issue. She would say, hey, Jean deals with clients. Sometimes he goes in farms. He will do some presentations. He's kind of starting a new model of management. But it would be super hard for her to describe, even if I give some good details. But I wouldn't think that she would be right in the direct path that we need to be. But that's a hard question to answer.
Good, good. There's the funny part then. Your mother wouldn't wouldn't have an easy job on that.
No.
And yeah, so I know that you graduated and in the vet school, so you're a veterinarian. You worked as a health supervisor at JBS, and then later you transitioned more to commercial roles, management roles. Can you share a little bit more about like how these diverse experiences influenced your current journey?
Sure, sure. It has been a great journey so far, Ricardo. Since I was in JBS, and JBS is a great school for management, for to start your career. It's a very hardworking company. They really call a lot from their employees. So you have some pressure. Every week you have to deliver more every month. Your goals are different. So that's a great school to start. Um, but after that, I knew that okay, I have been working in the more in the technical field, and now I want to go to the commercial field. So I had the opportunity to go and go abroad and go to the US, and had the opportunity to visit the main swine producers there, the top pork producers, and had the opportunity to be in 31 states, trying to sell my products and develop that skill to sell, and that skill to really strengthen relationship, which is super important for the role of commercial. So, and I didn't have an idea how important it is to develop a strong relationship with your customer, and really become his friend. That's super important, and I think that that's one of the biggest experience that I bring from that part of, okay, commercial. I need to develop strong relationship with the customer, and really become his friend and part of his family.
Yeah, especially in a business like in the swine industry. I remember when I started working here at Wisenetix, that was previous Swineit, right? Which, although we are in the industry, we're kind of like an alien, not aliens, but we're not like visiting the farms and those sort of things. We are creating content digitally, which is a different scenario, but all about the industry. So not aliens actually, but in a related to the industry, but in a different way. I remember when I went to my the first pork expo. Well, the first pork expo that I went, it was 2021, 2022. Yeah, I went to two only. But I remember the first event in the industry. Everyone knew each other. Everyone was really welcoming and receiving me well and everything. But it was a very close community. So you see a lot the importance of establishing uh, true relationships with the people, right? And it's good. It's good. It's great because people are great in the industry in general. I loved it. Again, I was really welcomed by everyone. But that's so essential because it's not like you're in a market where you have thousands and thousands and thousands of opportunities where if you make a mistake here, you can jump to the next one. There's a commitment on what you do, right? There's a big commitment. If you fail with a customer, it's really hard to get them back. And if you lose a customer in this industry, it's really hard to get another one, right? You don't have a lot of players. So I think this specific point you mentioned, relationships, and they are so related to the commercial side of things. This is a key aspect in the industry.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, no, I ended up finding out that the swine industry looks to be a huge community, but it ended up it's not. It's not. It's a small world, and everybody knows each other. As you said, if you develop a good relationship, if you establish a commitment with your customer, with few customers, in the next year you will know a few more, and then in a couple of years you will know several more. And if you do a very good job with one customer, he would help you to sell for his friend, for his co-worker, for the colleague of another company. So that's amazing, and I love the aspect of this particular field in our industry.
Yeah, okay, you had all this experience in JBS. As you mentioned, it was a great school, one of the main, if not the main integrator in Brazil. Um, and then you moved to the US. You experienced a different format of management, of making the industry happen, and be- based on that, you guys decided to start working in a new partnership, right, with the AMVC. Can you share a little bit more about your role today in Bretanha AMVC, and share more ideas of this about this collaboration and how it's going?
Yes. So, Ricardo, I have to go back a little bit to explain about what we are intending to do, and what we are bringing to Brazil. So, when we were in US, working with MB Swine, Malaport there, I had the opportunity to meet the people from AMVC, and actually they were our main customer there. We had the opportunity to increase that partnership from the last 6 years, and it's very funny that in the second meeting that we have with them, it was one of the worst meetings that I have in my career so far. People were willing in the room. The minds were not aligned at all. Tensions are in the air. It was not a good meeting. It's not that they kick our E, but it was not a good meeting at all. But sometimes that is a piece that helps to develop a true relationship. Like bad times create good times in the end. So that meeting was like was a point in this relationship, because it was a funny and a hard one, but for sure it was an experience. So not because of that, but because of a lot of hard working, a lot of good relationship, a lot of good customer service, a lot of meetings and hours spent trying to service that customer. We decided to start persuading them about, hey, have you guys ever thought maybe going abroad and going to Brazil? Right now, there is a lot of opportunities there. There is a lot of growth happening in Brazil. We think that this kind of business that you guys are developing here in the US might be a good opportunity in Brazil, uh, because the model that the swine vet clinics are doing their management in farms, or this kind of outsourcing in farms is pretty different. And here in Brazil, you don't see this kind of management. So we thought that there is some synergy with our companies. Here Bretanha has been in this market for almost 20 years, and AMVC in US over 40 years. So Bretanha knows the Brazilian market. AMVC knows how to manage sows, how to manage the swine part of a business. So why don't give a shot? Why don't try about that? And then we decide to start talking about that. For the last couple of years we have been planning and talking and having meetings about that, and finally this year we decide to create this new company, which is Bretanha AMVC. It's 50% AMVC, 50% Bretanha, and our goal is to bring the American management model to Brazil, and create different concepts to how to manage the a sow farm, or a sow business.
I'm not really a technical person, which is funny. I'm more in the communication, and I talk with a lot of people that have a technical background similar to you. Can you share a little bit more? You know, some highlights of what you see as the main differences in the way that we manage our farms, sow farms, barns in general, swine farms in Brazil versus these. American veterinary clinics model. What are the main differences you see and that you're trying to incorporate here? And please, you don't need to share any secrets. You can keep those. But in general, how you see this?
No, I'm not gonna share our main secrets. No, I'm just kidding. We don't have secrets. We are a very transparent company. But anyways, back into your question, I would think the vision of the Brazilian producer compared to the U.S. producer is quite different. Here in Brazil, the producer have a short term vision about his business. He wants to pay his expenses. He wants to pay his labor. He wants to sell this batch of pork to the industry. In opposite of that, in the US, the producer has a long-term vision. They sign agreements for 10 years to deliver pigs for this integrator, and his vision is okay, a year, entire year, and then 3 year, 5 years, and then 10 years. It's a different vision, and what else? Here in Brazil, I think the management is still very poor. Some people still use a notebook and a pen. If you believe me, uh, the farmer still doesn't have a very good management.
Even if they have this sort of management, even if they are work for an integrator, there is this like variation,
There is a
or just for a small independent.
No, there's a huge variation. There's a huge variation, Ricardo. Even in an area of a big integrator, you would have the best producers that would use a software, that you'd use the last technology, the smartphone for his daily tasks. But in the opposite, you have the producer that is still using the notebook and the pen. So, but there in the US, this is very consolidated already. Like management, they know how much energy per piglet is delivered. Here in Brazil, we are still just walking in this vision. So, and the other another key difference is really like the management part of this business, because here in Brazil it's more or independent producers or integrators they're big integrators and not too big integrators, medium term, but and then they have this partnership model that okay, a farmer deliver pigs for this integrator, and then this integrator goes to his finishers and keeps the chain or the cycle on that way. In opposite, there in the US, they have this long term agreements that he can sell his pork here in this integrator, but he's not forbidden to sell here as well. So it's kind of more a cycle business, a different way of business. If you got what I mean.
Yeah, yeah, and more opportunities for the producer also, right? Of dealing with multiple companies, not only one. More in general, as you see in the American culture, there is a little bit more of competition.
Yes.
So and competition, as we know, it's what raises the quality, is what raises opportunities in general, and help us improving things around us. So it's interesting to see that.
No, and just to close this question, and it's really professionalization, right? It's
Hmm.
professionalization here in Brazil. We haven't reached that level yet, and I think there in US they have reached that level of professionalization. And it's because of I would say the outsourcing, and I know we will talk about more about that, because if you outsource that part of your business, you can do very well with people that knows how to do that. So it's that's a big difference as well.
So let's stick to that, to the outsourcing base of it, in farm management. How do you think this outsourcing strategy impacts the efficiency in farm operations in general?
Ricardo, I think that's kind of a tendency in a lot of different markets. You do a lot of things in your industry, and if you can cut in parts and sign an agreement and lease a company or hire a company to do that small part as an outsourcing, and do very well because they have been doing that for the last decades. You know that on that part you don't need to be worried, because they will deliver what they need to deliver to you, what you guys define that's the deliveries. So I think that's a tendency in every industry. So coming back to the swine industry, I think that there is a lot of synergy with the slaughterhouse and the producers and the integrators, and with companies like us that is intending to manage our farms and to find different ways to produce pork and with more professionalism, with more long-term vision, with more management in the daily basis, doing more research as well, joining with universities, really like outsourcing that part of business, and going deep in the topic, providing details, and providing and bringing people that knows how to work with nutritional, how to work with health, and how is the production for the next 10 years, you bring all these components, and you can create great things. I think that's our goal here, talking about the American model of management. uh, yeah, I think that's the main part.
When you look at this, so you're bringing all this expertise and professionalism from the American veterinary clinics and applying that in Brazil. What do you think it's your biggest challenge today to make this happen?
I have been producing pork, or I have been working with this integrator X or Z for the last 20 years. Why would I give let's say the key of my farm for you to run the operation for me? It's really a click in a change, in a big change for the farmer, or for the investor in the swine business. But there is a lot of synergy when you go and talk with integrators, because they are understanding more what we are intending to do, what they have been doing in America for the last 30 years or 40 years. And they see that there is opportunity, because the partnership that the farmers have, if we integrate it here in Brazil, we are thinking that this model is expiring, because there is a lot of argues about if that is the future right now or not. And maybe this professional management, that could be one of the models that will be the future. So we think this model is expiring, and we need to bring different model, different operations to the table. So we are very positive and optimistic about this model here in Brazil. Right now we are starting to run our first pilot project, that it needs to be our selling farm, our selling point. And we will do very good here to start with the right fit, and then start to spread around.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, a success case is always good, right? For convincing other companies to join the movement. And no, now it makes more sense to me. I was thinking on a lower level, like if you're trying to convince like producers themselves, that would be harder. But if you go a little bit more on a top-down approach, where you have like agreements with integrators, that makes more sense. And again, it's more of a challenge, as you mentioned, of basically cultural challenge, right? Like a mindset challenge. Like, hey, am I should I change the way things are going? Like, even when things are not going very well, people are not willing to change, right? So
Sure.
it's probably the biggest challenge, as you mentioned. And so you're establishing this new business in Brazil. What would you say are your key pillars in your business strategy, and how these pillars would contribute for the success of Bretanha AMVC?
Sure. So here in Brazil, or in Britannia more specifically, uh, we have been working in four different pillars in all the business that we have been developing. And one of the pillars is our product or a service, a good product or a good service. So here we have strong partnership with companies with great product, with great customer service. And in this specific new company, Bretanha AMVC, we believe that we have an amazing service to deliver to the industry. So that's a pillar that we believe that we are strong. So another pillar that we work very hard here is the relationship with the market. You know, like Britain has been in this business for the last 20 years. We have over 50 employees running this country. So we believe that we have strong relationship to spread the word about these new companies and about what we have been doing. And another pillar, it's our access to the market in terms of people, of headquarters, of different distribution and different channels. So we have been for a few years already, for several years. So we have this pillar very well established as well. And the fourth pillar that we have been working, the last one, is to have a strong partner. So here we fulfill this with AMVC, with all the expertise and the knowledge and the experience that they have been producing pork meat there in the US for the last 40 years. So when we were there in May this year, when we were there in the MVC, answering questions and finishing to learn more about this model, we brought a list of 100 questions to them, and a lot of the questions they replied, "Hey, this is inside us. We have been doing this for the last 40 years. It's all about transparency, professionalism and good relationship, open communication. It's more about values than an approach or a procedure. Is just more about values. So that's a thing that is big for us right now about the values that AMVC have been having on their business, and we want to bring them. So this strong relationship give us a lot of confidence to run this new business here.
That's great, and I love that last piece. I believe in this a lot. Like values drive action, or at least they should drive your actions. And if you have good values, you don't you don't need to have everything in a. Of course, procedure. You must have your procedures. Don't get me wrong, uh, but lots of our decisions and how we act is going to be based on if you have the right values, right? So as you mentioned, like, are you transparent? Are you professional? Awesome. And yeah, just for us to wrap up here, uh, first, thanks for sharing all this great information. Sounds really exciting. I'm eager to see what's going to happen in the near future with this partnership and how it will impact the swine industry in Brazil. But now wrapping up here, first thing, what piece of advice would you give to someone younger starting their career in the industry?
Right. Ricardo, I think that a super important piece is networking. Develop relationships, embrace people, and embrace their experience as well. Uh, really try to learn from people that have been doing what we want to do, and people that are in the positions that you dream to be there in the future. So I think this is a part that I would encourage people to develop, and don't be shy. Embrace opportunities, keep pushing. I had in my mind when I was doing vet school that I'm gonna finish the vet school. Talking five different languages. It didn't happen, but I had my this broken English here that I can communicate, and I have been in US doing business and selling in a different language, which is which I'm very proud about that. I have the opportunity to develop my Spanish as well, a little bit of German, but I think language as well. It's a it's an amazing piece that I would advise people to work with, because The world is huge and the opportunities are everywhere. You never know, So if you know how to speak English and Spanish, which is the main two languages, you can go everywhere and talk to people, and that's important.
I had this dream of speaking lots of different languages also. I'm still in Portuguese and English. Spanish only when I have a few beers, then I can speak a little bit of Spanish. And Jed, do you have any books or movies or podcasts or anything that you would like to recommend to our listeners?
I do have a podcast that just recently I start to listen, and it's about memory. The podcast, it's called the Magnetic Memory Method podcast, which is amazing podcast. This guy have been doing this podcast for 5 years, I guess, and he has been giving tips about how to improve your memory, how to recognize the voice of people, how to remember a movie, how to remember the person that you met 10 years ago, and different tips, different methods that it's pretty amazing. If you have the time to spend a couple of hours there, I'm sure you will learn a lot. In a book, I have to mention a book that I love, and a lot of maybe some people have mentioned that again, but it's never too much to mention about Rich Dad and Poor Dad. I think it's an amazing book, and sometimes I buy one or a couple, and I give as a gift for important people in my life. I think it's an amazing book to open your mind about financial and how to plan your life in advance.
Yeah, a few people already told me about this book. I still need to read, and I have it at home because my fiance read it, so it's in my list. But I'm really curious about the podcast. My memory is terrible, so that's something probably I need to look at, especially nowadays where we have so many channels and information all around to be among all this information and filter the right thing, the important thing, and get them, stick them in your mind. It's a challenge. So thanks for all this, for your recommendations. And my last question for you, Ja, is where our audience can find you.
The audience can find me in LinkedIn, Jean Pedro de Quadros, Jean. My Instagram as well, Jean Pedro, without the O, so it's JeanPedr. It's my Instagram. Also, still have Facebook. I don't think people use a lot, but I still have there. My email is jean at bretanhaamvc.com as well if people want to just send me an email. And yeah, I would love to connect with the audience and share experience, and maybe there is some opportunities to develop something. You never know. It has been great to share this with you.
Ja, thanks a lot for your participation here today. Thanks for taking the time and sharing a little bit more of your experience and projects with the audience. And for you that has been listening to us so far, thanks for your company, and see you on our next episode. Bye bye, everyone.